Hello AOS fans, Robin here, back once again with a Road to the Grand Clash video for you, and it's a special hot off the press Road to the Grand Clash because it ties in with the new release of the Power Unbound cards that Games Workshop announced on Sunday and are available for pre-order I think on Saturday. So what are these cards? Well, we don't know very much about them yet. Well, they're probably going to be like the Leaders pack. It's a pack of 36 universal cards used across all warbands, and a further 24 cards that are going to be Nightvault faction specific. Yes, these cards will only suit people who are playing Nightvault rather than Shadespire, but of course that, if you're listening, is probably almost none of you who are just playing Shadespire. You're probably all fully paid up for Nightvault. Nightvault warbands tend to be a little bit stronger, and I think this is only going to make them stronger still. What do we think we can expect from these cards? Well, remembering back to the Leaders pack, I can remember people were mostly complaining that there was a load of guff in the deck. Pete and I were probably among those people, and to a certain extent, well, that's been borne out. I think almost no faction specific cards are played from the Leaders deck. I may be wrong. A possible exception is the Fast Riders Raptor Strike one, which is a very powerful 1 damage card from 4 hexes away. And then having a quick look on Underworld's DB at what people like to play, and among the universal cards, well, what's used a lot, looking at Underworld's DB, shining example is a super hot card, and that's the only one. There's a few hot cards: Slayer, Well Guarded, Inspire Command, Quick Advance, Tyrant's Command, Hero's Mantle, and I can see why those cards do get used. So you've got sort of half a dozen or more, 8 cards there that get used in a number of decks, in tournament decks. So the pack isn't completely useless. Personally, I think I don't carry any of them in my current iterations, but they don't suit, many of those cards don't suit hyper offensive Godsworn Hunt or Magic, particularly, obviously, because they were out before pre-Magic, and they're not making it into my Magic Eyes of the Nine deck, so I'm not using very many of those. But certainly Shining Example and Inspired Command, I have used. I think Inspired Command has only recently gone out of my deck, and Quick Advance I've used as well in the past. But so what can we expect from this new pack of cards? Well, something similar, I imagine. There's probably going to be enough cards in there to make us want to buy it, but I don't think there's anything obviously not going to be anything too shattering. What does it mean for those of us who are heading off to the Grand Clash? Probably it means we're going to have to make way for our existing decks. Are going to have to make way for a couple of cards that are going to be juicy, and I don't know what card I'm going to have to take out, but probably going to find I'm going to take a ploy or maybe an objective out to accommodate some of these new cards, which is a little bit frustrating. It's comparatively on the eve of the Grand Clash and don't have much time to practice, so that is a bit of a shame. And but however, maybe there'll be a perfect fit. Maybe there'll be some amazing Godsworn Hunt or Eyes of the Nine card that will really make them click. They've had the opportunity to do it. I don't know whether these cards have been designed well in advance. I guess with being cards, they don't need to be printed so early, so maybe they can help with game balance. I don't really know how the Games Workshop system works there. Perhaps if you have any ideas or thoughts, then do let us know in the comments. But I'd love to see some great Godsworn cards, obviously, or some great Eyes cards. These are all for the Nightvault warbands, which does raise interesting questions about the future of the old Shadespire Wargames, the Season 1 warbands. Are they going to be around for much longer? I'm not sure they're going to ban them. I don't think they can ban them yet going into Season 3, otherwise you'd only have Season 2 left and Season 2 cards. But I just wonder whether they might keep the universal cards for a while, maybe ban a couple more, but keep those in the game, and then basically scope creep will just mean that the old Shadespire warbands become less and less competitive. That said, people still win with them all the time, so there's no reason to suggest that they're not competitive at the moment. But at the big Grand Clashes where there's lots of games, lots of people playing over time, the Shadespire warbands are struggling. Further cards for the Nightvault warbands is hardly likely to make that situation better. So is this the first sort of nail in the coffin of the Season 1 warbands? Possibly so. It's hard to tell, of course. It's pure speculation, but I think it does indicate that Games Workshop aren't going to be making anything more for them. I think if they had an opportunity here, they could have made some less universal cards. The game doesn't really need any more universal cards. They had the opportunity here to cut the number of universals and add in a number of the old Shadespire warbands, some specific ones. I don't think that would have hit the bottom line. Enough people play all warbands or would like to play the warband or the old warbands to still, I think, make this a profitable purchase, even without loads of universal cards, especially as a reasonable chunk of the universal cards I can expect will probably almost never see the light of day. So I don't think that's a consideration. I just think maybe in this kind of always looking forward, always looking for the next new thing world that we seem to live in, that the Shadespire warbands have been and they've gone, and you can still play them if you want to, but I think gradually you're going to struggle more and more to get the support from new cards, and they won't be able to keep up with the newer warbands as we move into season 3 through the summer and into the autumn. So there you go. So it's sort of not really tangential to my road to the Grand Clash, only that it is going to affect the deck building process when we do finally get to see what cards are in there. As I said, I imagine I'm going to have to drop 1 or 2 cards from the existing deck to include some of these new ones. That said, I think some of these cards, I certainly didn't appreciate how good they were, with the possible exception of Shining Example. Some of these cards, it took me a little while to realise of their uses. Quick Advance is another one, which is I think is immediately obviously good, but a few of them it took me a little while to appreciate that they might find their way into the deck. So possibly I won't have worked that out before the Grand Clash comes around. It's not that long now until it does arrive. So, but I think this will shake up the meta a little, not massively. Leaders didn't shake it up massively, and I don't think these will shake it up massively either. I think they tend to be a kind of more of what you've already got situation, rather than actually taking the meta and things in completely different directions, which obviously new warbands do tend to do. But we'll be waiting with interest for the pre-order, and I'm sure there'll be some previews on the Warhammer community website, and hopefully Pete and I will be able to give you our views as soon as we get hold of them on what we think of the cards and which ones we might add to our deck. So let us know what you think about this. Let us you think whether it does mean that the Season 1 warband is fading away, or whether you think they'll still go strong. So as I know, people are still winning with them, so well done if you are. And until next time, when maybe we'll actually be talking about these new cards, what they are, rather than just pure speculation, we'll see you soon.